right, so I just got the script flipped on me. So somebody had sent this video to me, and I was getting all amped up. I was ready to defend my boy. Somebody had said that Matt Hall, the provost of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, somebody said that he was going after John Harris on the down low. And so I was like, yeah, I'll watch that, and we'll do a video or two. We'll defend him. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it gets worse or if it gets more serious. But I almost died laughing watching this. Like this attack, and I tend to think that he's right. It is an attack on John Harris. He doesn't name him because that's how Big Eva operates, right? They like to criticize their opponents without naming them, so they can never be held to account. But which is just so, it's not even girly. It's just pathetic. I mean, that'd be an insult to girls. It's just pathetic the way that they operate. They always criticize their opponents, nameless, so you know who they're talking about, but they could never be held accountable for talking about. It's so sad. It is unbelievable. But in any case, so this little weasel, starts doing that exact thing. So, I thought I was going to have to do a video defending John Harris, but just look at this. I almost died when he said this.
Get too political.
This is John talking.
And,
hold
and
on.
work on anger and fear and those kinds of things. And then watch what he says.
And they all stand to gain from your outrage and your fear. And in case you're wondering, they're happy to give you the link for their Patreon account or to have you register for their conference at a discounted rate if you register today. But nowhere do we see them.
You can see, man, he sounds like he's not kidding. He sounds like he's not kidding. He's like, he gets all, he thinks about it. He stops in his moment. It's almost like this wasn't even in his notes. And he's like, he stops for a second. He gets all serious. And then he looks right at the camera. They're all too happy to give you the link to their Patreon account. He thinks he got you. John, he thinks he got you so bad. And then I don't know if you've had, maybe he's not talking about you, though. Because, John, have you done conferences that he's referring to here? Maybe he's talking about the Fight Laugh Feast guys. I don't know. But man, this is so typical Big Eva. Like they can't help it. They cannot help but be elitists. Last week we ended with the what's his face? What's that guy's name? Ortlund. Ray Ortlund thinks he's better than you. That was one of the most elitist things I had ever seen on Twitter. And then but Matt Hall went and topped him with this. He's like, they're all too happy to give you their Patreon, like as if that's some kind of a knock on John Harris. And it's like, are you insane, dude? Do you want to compare salaries? Like, I'm not trying to blow up John's spot or anything, but John strikes me as a very humble guy. He probably doesn't. I mean, John, I hope this is not an insult to you, but the provost of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, in the kind of the way he dresses, it strikes me he probably has a better salary than a guy like John Harris or a guy like me. I mean, John, I'm not trying to insult you. Hope you don't take it that way. But I just find it so amazing that this guy, his income comes from people giving him money, from donating to this seminary. This regular Southern Baptists pay this man's salary, and he has the audacity to be like, he's going to give you his Patreon link. And the thing is, like, most people pay this dude's salary on your screen, and they have no choice in the matter because they're giving to their church faithfully, and the church participates in the certain programs. They donate their money. Like, most people don't have any choice in the matter. But you see, John provides free information and free just stuff all day long. Yeah, he writes books as well that he sells, and that's fine. But most of his content is completely free. And the fact that anybody dares support John of their own free will, it just burns this guy up. And you know what this is about? It's not about the money, I don't think. It is about the money because, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about money. So it's clearly about the money a little bit. Like, he can't fathom that John makes an income from giving information about the social justice controversy or the Church of God or the evangelical movement and stuff like that. He can't fathom that anyone would pay a peon, a plebe, a peasant like John Harris. He can't fathom that. But really, what it's about, it's not so much the money, because I think he probably knows that he makes a lot more money doing this exact thing, ripping the church and stuff like that all day long. John doesn't even rip the church. Like, John just talks about these social issues. Matt Hall does the same thing. He talks about socials, except he drags the name of the church through the mud. But he makes a lot more money doing it than John Harris does. I think he knows that. So it's not so much about the money. What it's about, though, is that John is uninitiated. John is unwashed. He's unclean. He didn't go and jump through all the same hoops that Matt Hall jumped through. Like, it probably burns him up that anybody, if even one person listens to John Harris, that probably angers him so much because he knows the things that he's had to do to get to the position that he's in, the sidekick of Al Mohler. He understands the kinds of things that he's had to do to get his position, and he thinks it's not fair that anybody gives John Harris the time of day when John Harris hasn't done any of these things. Now, John actually does have credentials, which is something that I lack. I lack credentials, but John actually has them, but he's most certainly not in the guild. John Harris is not in the club at all. So the fact that John Harris makes even one dime doing this stuff, and he makes more than one dime, I happen to know that. You know what I mean? So he's probably not getting rich off Patreon, but he makes, a decent amount of money off Patreon, which, as he should. He puts out a ton of content. But no. That he's unwashed. He should not be making a dime on these issues. I am the great Matthew Hall. I am the provost of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, and Matthew Hall, we're all very impressed. I'm sure that was a very difficult road to climb and all. You probably got Al Mohler coffee a bunch of times in order to get there, and it probably burns you up that anybody listens to John Harris. But this is the ticket, my friend. Matthew Hall, not only do people listen to John Harris, but the number of people listening to him is growing every day. And we know that you feel the sting of this, and we are very, very pleased to know that. You see, it's not about all the stuff. You're trying to slander this guy as if he's doing underhanded things and he's going to sell you into slavery. Like, I mean, what a drama queen Matt Hall is. Seriously, how could you be more dramatic than this? But you did reveal something that helps us very much. You would not have mentioned this if you weren't feeling the impact of it where it hurts you most, your wallet. And I would be very surprised to know to find out that John Harris's name hasn't been brought up in fundraising meetings and in meetings where people are potentially going to give you money or potentially not, and you've had to defend yourself because of the true accusations and the exposure that a guy like John Harris has opened up to the world, whereas you prefer everything to be behind closed doors. Now, that's not going to fly any longer. Sorry to say, but the internet allows us to do research and to find out what you're up to and to see things that you say that are unbiblical and to say, hey, that's actually not biblical when you say XYZ or the famous Matt Hall video, I'm a racist. And it's like, dude, you're a racist, so maybe you should resign because that's apparently the worst thing in the world, according to people from your end. So maybe you should probably resign, or maybe admit that you're a critical theorist, and then you should resign anyway because critical theory isn't biblical. So it's just so funny. Like he just can't even fathom that an unwashed, uninitiated adversary is actually having a pretty big impact on him. John Harris, good on you. Matt Hall, I guess I'll watch the rest of this, but oh, man. I think that about sums it up. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.